Hi guys, today I'm going to show you the basic proportion and the bone structure of the human body. What I want you to get ready today is your sketchbook and graphite pencils. And as you can see in this newsprint, I have these grids I have already prepared here. What we're going to be following today is the 8-head proportion, and I'm going to show you the bone structure of this. Just measure 1 inch apart of the sidelines, so it's gonna be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The sidelines you're gonna prepare in your sketchbook. So you guys have the 8x11 sketchbook, so it's gonna be just an inch apart of the grids. And also just prepare the center line, so we're gonna so that we can make sure that the left and right is going to be symmetrical. And also one more vertical line on the right hand side. This is going to be the side view, so I'm going to show you the anterior. Anterior is the front view, and also this is going to be the lateral, the side view. So I'm going to be creating 2 skeleton today in this newsprint. So I'm going to start with this A, and this is gonna be L, the lateral. A stands for the anterior and L stands for the lateral. Lateral is the side views. Alright, so pause the video now and just get ready with these grids in your sketchbook and we'll start. Okay, so the human body, everybody's different, but we are just gonna follow this thing called the 8-head proportion. First thing I'm gonna do is, of course, it's gonna be the skull. So when you look at the skull, there are 2 major parts in the skull. So we have the cranium. Cranium is this like round part of the head where it holds the brain, and also we have the mandible. Mandible is the jaw. We basically have 2 bone structure for the skull, and I've seen in the figure drawing class a lot of people just create this one the oval shape that looks like an egg. But what you can do to make it a little more realistic is to make the 2 parts separated. So I'm gonna just take this one, the first part of this the grids that we created, and I'm gonna start with this nice oval shape and create the jawline. It goes diagonally down, and a little pointy part for the chin. And for the lateral view, I'm gonna do the right side, so it's gonna be looking at this way. And you're gonna start with the cranium, just like I'm doing right here. And what you can do is to create the facial line, the frontal curve of the face, and you're gonna create the jawline that comes from the middle of the cranium going down this way. Alright, and the next I'm gonna just create the neck. The neck is the vertebrae, so of course when you look at it from the side views you can see all the vertebrae going down all the way down to your tailbone. But from the front view, the anterior view, you only see just this much of it, and maybe like the top part of the neck bone might be hidden behind of the skull. So you're just gonna take half of the second part of this proportion, and you can just go ahead and create the neck. So just like half of this second grid. And the next part I'm gonna show you is the clavicle. So the clavicle is of course the collarbone, and you can actually see this bone when you look at the mirror, and you can touch it and feel how straight this is from the middle of your neck all the way down up to your shoulder. So the length of the shoulder from the left and right here, for the male it's usually 2 heads, and female it would be 1.5 head for the side from here to here. So that's the first proportion that you can remember when you do the figure drawing. The clavicle looks like this angry eyebrow shape, so I'm gonna just start from this middle right underneath the neck bone, and I'm just gonna stretch out like I'm drawing a really angry eyebrow like this. And just make sure the left and right is symmetrical. So it's just gonna be basically something like this, very simple. So now clavicle is done, so let's move on to the rib cage. The rib cage is, of course, the part that protects your heart, lung, everything. So this one is gonna be 1.5 head height. So it's gonna just take over this rest of the half of the second part, and it goes down to the third line right here. And it looks like an egg shape. You can maybe do like in between the eggy shape and also the box. So it's gonna be like the shape that's in between. It is gonna be 1.5 height, and also it's gonna be the same width as the clavicle. So you can just go ahead and do the ghosting and do the basic form first. Of course, everything starts with the ghosting, so just go ahead and do the ghosting. Take this 1.5 section of the grits, just like this. And also another thing that you can notice is for the rib cage is that we have this open space on the front view, anterior view. And what we're gonna be doing is to create this thing called the sternum. Sternum is the center, and you can also push the middle of your the rib cage, and you can feel how hard this is. And this kind of looks like a necktie, right? So we have the knot right here, and we have the little pointy part on the bottom, and it looks like a small necktie. So this usually have one head. So what I'm gonna do is to create the knot right here, and I'm gonna just stop right in the middle here, and this is gonna be the small necktie right here. And this one is called the sternum. I'm gonna just create this open space for the anterior view of the rib cage. So you can just go ahead and create this upside down U curve. And then now let's just finish up the rib cage. Okay, so this is just the basic form of the rib cage, and I'm not really doing those rib body right now, but I'm gonna show the rib body and like all the details for the next video. Let me just show you what's happening for the lateral view. So we just have created the neck bone, clavicle, and also the rib cage for the anterior. And the lateral, I'm gonna do the same thing. I've seen a lot of people doing just like straight line for the neck, but it actually has this slight curve goes down this way. So you can just do this. So the arrow pointing at the back, so you can just simply create this curve. When you are drawing the elder people, usually when you get older, the neck starts coming more and more to the front. So if you make this curve a little more intense, then that makes the person look even older, coming up, the head coming out like this. And usually younger people have a little more straight the neck curve. So it really depends on like if you wanna draw a cartoon with this like different age group, then maybe you can just like control a little curve of the neck to emphasize the different age groups in your drawing. So just a simple subtle curve right now. And then the clavicle, you can't really see it from the lateral view, but let's just get the hint of this subtle diagonal angle of the clavicle. So it should be going down this way. And again, I'm only taking half of the second part right now. When you look at the rib cage from the lateral view, this is going to be a very interesting part. So you can use this for the figure drawing too. The rib cage would create this like eggy shape, but it's gonna be more coming down to this angle. So now you can see the curve going out this way for the neck, and then now the rib cage is gonna come down a little more towards the front this way like this. So I'm gonna do the ghosting that has a subtle diagonal angle. So you can see this oval shape is slightly tilted going this way. Okay, so I'm going to finish this up. So this is the shape of the rib cage, and now I'm just going to connect the neck bone, because the neck bone is the vertebrae, that's your spine, and that goes all the way down to the tailbone. So I'm just going to bring this curve down. So let's just finish it right here. So this is the lateral view. The neck bone have the little curve, and then the important thing of the lateral view of the ribcage is that we have this subtle shift of this oval shape. So the next one is the pelvis. Pelvis is, it looks like a Mickey Mouse heart shape, like a Mickey Mouse ear. This is going to be your hip bone. So it's going to be, of course, sitting right underneath the ribcage, right here. For the male, the width of the male pelvis is usually 1.5 head, and for the female it's a little bit wider and it's going to be 2 heads. So it's going to be the opposite of the shoulder length. The male has the bigger shoulder, 2 heads, and the female has the 1.5 head, right? So the pelvis is going to be the opposite. The male pelvis 1.5 head, and for the female it's going to be a little bit wider. And the reason why is, of course, female carries the baby, and we need a little more wider bowl shape to carry the baby in. I'm just going to start here. The height of the pelvis is going to be exactly 1 head. So 1 head right here. So let's just start with the ghosting. And also right here. So I'm gonna start with the shape of the Mickey Mouse ear. So we have the left and right. You can just simply finish this by adding this simple curve at the bottom, just like this. And this is just fine for now. Okay, so this looks just like, it's like a teddy bear face or the Mickey Mouse ear right now. And this is what the pelvis should be looking like. And for the lateral view, it's gonna be, the lateral view of the pelvis is a really complicated shape. So I'm just gonna simplify it right now. So you're just gonna create the Mickey Mouse over here. And then you can just bring this down for now. Just like this. So simple lateral view of the Mickey Mouse face without the nose, I guess. Yeah, so I'm gonna show the details for the next video, but let's just keep everything simple for now. Let's just connect this together, because right now we have this space in between the ribcage and the pelvis. So the vertebrae, the neck bone, goes all the way down to your tailbone. And now I'm just gonna continue this bar from the neck, bring down to the pelvis. Just like this. Now the torso is connected. And for the lateral view, you're just gonna create another curve along with the Mickey Mouse ear. And this is going to be your tailbone right here. Now here's something that it's interesting thing is happening for the lateral view torso. You can see this like rhythm going on. If you have taken a figure joint class, I'm sure that your teacher has taught you how every human body has a rhythm, and you can create this like zigzag form. And when you look at the lateral view of the skeleton, it's pretty clear how this curve and zigzag is happening in the human body. So the neck goes out this way, and the vertebrae for the rib cage curves out this way. And now you can see the space in between the rib cage and the pelvis is creating a curve going out this way. And now the tailbone comes out back into the front this way, right? So now you can see this nice wave created, And when you do the drawing, human body, figure drawing, anything, this kind of like gesture and rhythm is going to be very, very important. Next part is I'm going to show you the arm bone. Upper arm bone is called the humerus. And the bottom, the forearm, we have two bones. We have the radius, and also we have the ulna. So we have three bones in the arm. The upper arm is one, and the forearm has two bones. The humerus has a ball socket joint. It's happening right underneath the clavicle and also the scapula. So you can just kind of create the ball shape for the head of the humerus, and it's gonna be the triangle form on the bottom, and the length is exactly same as the rib cage, so that's gonna be 1.5 head. So clavicle to the bottom of the rib cage is 1.5, and you can just simply create the humerus as 1.5 head on the other side. So the characteristic of the humerus is that we have the ball socket joint on the top of the humerus, and the bottom is going to be a little more triangular shape, just like this, how you're looking at it right now. I'm just gonna skip the lateral view because I don't want to cover this drawing right now. The forearm has two bones, radius and ulna, and it is happening right underneath the humerus. The radius and ulna is gonna be 1.25 head, so it's slightly smaller than the humerus. So humerus is 1.5, right? The radius and ulna from elbow to your wrist, it's gonna be 1.25 head. So radius is gonna be a little bit wider on the bottom, and ulna is gonna be bigger on the top and smaller on the bottom. But the thing is, the ulna has it when you touch your elbow right here, the hard part of your elbow, that's your ulna actually. So it's the forearm bone, and this one is going to be hidden behind of the humerus, so you can't really see it. It's going to be kind of coming down this way. Okay, all right, so humerus, radius and ulna. Radius is on the lateral side, and then the ulna is happening on the medial. So when you look at the pinky side, this is the ulna bone. And the hands, I'm not gonna do the hands. You can just create this like wire structure for the hand for now, because I'm gonna have the official hand day later after this, after the midterm. We just do the thumb, palm, and the 4 fingers, just like this, and this is just one. Let's just leave it like this. So we have the rest of the body, which is the legs, and that's it. So the leg is gonna be kind of like the arm bones here. So because we have the one big bone for the thigh, and also the knee below is gonna be 2 bones. First one is the femur. The femur is your thigh bone. This is the biggest bone in the entire body. It does have the ball socket joint, just like the humerus right here, so we can move around, right? Like we can move 360 degree all over. For the femur, we have 2 heads, and the femur starts from the side of the pelvis, and you can just start with the ball socket joint just like this. When you look at the skeleton in a textbook, you can notice how the femur is not actually straight down from the pelvis, but it actually does have this V-shaped angle of the left and right of the femur. The knee should be ending closer to the medial line right over here, and it has 2 heads, so starts from here and right over here. So the line should be something like this. So this is a really important thing, because when we start doing the muscle over, you have to make sure that the line of the femur has this like diagonal angle to build the muscle around it. So make sure that it's not a straight line. The femur is going to create this like nice V shape. We have the ball socket joint, and the femur has this thing called the neck. And also we have this like a little boxier shape on the top. Goes down, splits out on the bottom, just like the humerus. It gets a little bit wider on the bottom, like this. Alright, so we have the femur form, and the one thing that you don't want to forget is the kneecap. That's called the patella. The patella is a little small round bone that's sitting on your knee, and that's your knee pad. You can feel it, you can move around, you can wiggle around, and that is happening on the anterior. So they just create this nice flat round shape. Yep. So we have the patella bone right underneath the femur. In the lateral view, it's going to be pretty simple. You're just going to start the femur from the bottom of the pelvis right over here, two heads, so it should end over here. The patella is going to be the flat form, just like this. So when you look at the femur from the lateral view, now you are going to create this curve that goes out this way. Okay, so now you're going to do this. And again, it is thicker on the bottom, even when you look at it from the lateral view too. So this is the shape of the femur from the lateral view. And the bottom of the leg, the knee below, that is another two bones that you notice. It's tibia, and also we have the fibula. So the tibia to the heel, so the knee pad to the heel is going to be another two heads. So here to here, we're just going to use the rest of this grids over here, and the tibia is going to be much wider on the top, and it's going to be a little bit skinnier on the bottom. And actually the shape of the tibia looks like a sharp knife. Alright, so that's tibia. And another one is called the fibula. The fibula is happening on the lateral side of the lower leg, and it starts slightly lower than the tibia. So the tibia starts right underneath the patella bone, but the fibula, so this is the tibia starting point, and the fibula is going to start a little bit lower, and it ends lower too. So it's almost the same size. It is the same size, same height as the tibia, but it just starts lower and it ends lower, and it's a really skinny bone. Like this. This one you can actually see it in a human leg too. When you look at your feet in the mirror from the anterior view, usually the fibula is the ankle that goes down a little bit lower, and you can see the projection of the fibula, and the tibia is slightly higher, so you can see the angle of the ankle that goes down, kind of like this. And then let me do the lateral. Tibia, and the fibula should be sitting just like right over here. It's kind of hard to draw from the lateral view. And the feet, I'm gonna have another feet day after the midterm, so you can just keep it simple. Let's just create this nice triangle shape for now to finish it off. Okay, so I just showed you the basic human proportion. This is the 0. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So we are following the basic 8 head human proportion right now. This is a skeleton system, and for the next video, I'm gonna show you a little more details of each bones of the human body.